Yo, what's up, fight fans? Can you guys hear me out there loud and clear? Somehow I wasn't getting my chat, and then all of a sudden I got cut off. YouTube be bugging, bro. Yo, can y'all hear me? Let me check my stream, man. It was just all of a sudden I'm talking and everything just cut right off. But I'm just gonna pick it up where I left off. Let me check the stream. Let me let a couple of you join. What's up, man? There you guys are. Yo, 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 what up, papi? Man, nah, Carlos, right? Estoy grabando, right? I'm talking. Y de momento, mira, se corta el stream y todo. No, they didn't let me get no chats, nothing. So you can hear me loud and clear, bro. Man, I hope you guys heard the first part of that video. I think it was up. But yeah, man, it wasn't, I don't know, bad connection or something. Oh, it be like that, bro. Loud and clear. Thank you, man. Yeah, man. So I was starting to break down that the Terrence Crawford thing and situation, and with fighters like the Japanese fighter that is coming up right now, it's gonna be very hard for those kind of men to get fights now. We think that we want to see this guy with this guy, but behind the scenes, these guys really don't want to fight him. As you can see, Sebastian Fandora, at least him and his father, they're honest. That's fucked up in a way. You just win your first world title, and the first fighter they throw you in it with is the best pound for pound fighter in the fucking world. Are you kidding me? Hey, listen, it's clear as day Sebastian Fandora needs a lot of work, and he's lengthy and long, and it's hard enough him dealing with his own lengthy body, because tall guys like that are real, like, funny moving, right? And they're gonna throw you in with the best fighter of the fucking world. They're gonna make this man vacate his belt, the WBO title. And that kind of hurts as a fighter, but at least you stand to be champion much longer. And you're giving yourself better opportunity against a guy that might be on your level. There's levels to this, and there's not many fighters that are on Terrence Crawford's level. He's a very scary guy for anyone in any division. Okay. And this is where the problem's going to lie. Just like men like him now, oh yeah, in a way, you guys think it's going to be a walk in the park sometimes for him just going. I don't think his skills are not what's in question. Terrence Crawford's fighting skill is not what's in question. It's the fact that to get these guys in the ring with them, a lot of these men want to be called champion for a lot longer. Like I said, they like walking down the street, walk into the room. Hi, champ. Not hi, the former champion. And your window of being champion is only going to be so long, right? For the great ones, they're able to maintain it. But it's still, once it's over, it's over. You don't want it to be over in your very next fight. Damn, man. Like, really? Like, really, you're gonna feed some fucking Terrence Crawford to me? That's crazy. So the options are that the Prince really is like rocking with Terrence Crawford, and he's letting me known all over social media. He's like, "Yo, Terrence Crawford, I got your back. I'm interested in you, and I would like you to fight the newly WBA champion at the 154-pound out there in Saudi." But he also said, "Yo, I'll back you out in America to Terrence Crawford." Right? So now, oh yeah, anyway, and just in case you guys didn't catch the first half before I got cut off, and the reason why I was bringing him up is because on April 6th marks like a second birthday for him. On April 6th marks the day that he won his very first world title on that day against Adrian Hernandez. Okay. So the Japanese superstar, that's like a birthday for him. It was like a birth in who he was as a boxer. All his hard work coming up in the amateurs, young in the ranking, starting his career at 19 years old, it all paid off on that day, April 6th. And on that day he became a champion. And from that April to this April right here, it's been 10 years. He's been a champion consistently for 10 years, a four division world champion, and he is the second man to unify all four belts in two separate weight divisions. Pretty impressive in 10 years. And the fact that he did the last accomplishment within one calendar year. Pretty impressive shit right there. Okay. Not to take away anything from Terrence Crawford because, other every fighter has their situation. Terrence Crawford was stalled out numerous times in his career. He could have been a way better champion, but you can't always get all these guys to sign on the dotted line. Not every promotional company works with each other. It's a dirty business sometimes. And for years, Terrence Crawford gave 6 years of his life chasing down Errol Spence Jr. That's 6 years out of your career. Okay. So he sacrificed a lot, but he is who he is. And because he's such these guys are starting to see Terrence Crawford adapts to any style and he will switch it up on your ass quick, left or righty. And he'll look so fluent. Um, it's going to take a lot to surprise him and beat him. Most of the times when he was in there playing with his food, showboating, giving the fans, their money's worth. But when he wanted to close the night, Terrence Crawford turned it up a level, and that was it. He turned it up to Super Saiyan, and he went Super Saiyan mode on Porter. Yo, it was amazing. When I even think back at that fight, still gives me chills, bro. Yo, they told Terrence Crawford in the corner, yo, you're losing the fight. He looked at the guy and said, what do you mean I'm losing the fight? They said, yo, on the unofficial scorecard, because of course they can't see the scorecard, right? He goes, on the unofficial one, you losing. Bro, Terrence Crawford got off that stool and laid him out. Yo, it was crazy. And it just goes to show he was playing with him, and Sean Porter's father saw it. Had he let that fight continue, there wasn't anything going to change. It was just going to get worse. And he saw it. Porter had checked out the fight. He was punching on the floor. He was mad. And his father and him weren't seeing eye to eye in their approach on the fight in the corner. They must have been arguing a little bit. So the vibe wasn't there and the night wasn't there for them on that night. But Terrence Crawford stepped up, showed improve, and that's why he is the fighter that he is. He's going to be a very avoidable fighter. And if I was Sebastian Fundora, I would want to fight Errol Spence Jr. too. He's a wounded Doug, bro. He's coming off one of the worstest beatings ever. And as a fighter, mentally, you got to put yourself together after a beating like that. I don't give a fuck who you are. You got to understand your whole life. You were told you were that guy. You're him. You got 3 belts. You got everybody around you. You ain't never took a loss. Every challenge they put in front of you, you passed. There is no one telling you that anybody can beat you. Not just anybody. A man moving up in weight. Because Terrence Crawford he was the champion at 140. Yeah, it took him 6 years. He was no longer moved up in weight. He was already acclimated to the division, and he fought a lot of fights there. But, leading into that fight, before they got to me and the car accidents and et cetera, I remember that famous interview when Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. were backstage at someone's fight. I forget whose fight it was. And they were talking. Errol was telling them, you too light in the ass. You too small. Yeah, I'm the big fish. I'm the big fish, right? So, Terrence Crawford was moving up, right? And he just didn't think he can do that to him. When he suffered that massive ass whooping like that, that does something to you and to your confidence and to your level of a fighter. How are you going to perform like that? Fighting a fighter like Sebastian Fundora, a 6'6" fighter like that, as you can see, that alone can present you the height, the reach, can present you with a lot of problems. And since Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., their style of fighting are two separate styles of fighting. Sebastian and his father knows this. Okay, I'll give it to you guys. What style of fighter is Errol Spence Jr.? A come forward style fighter. That's it. He's just going to go one way, forward, 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 forward. That's it. And he barely had any good head movement. He couldn't even adjust to the speed of Terence Crawford's punches. He couldn't block them. He couldn't parry them because they were too fast. And he kept going forward, forward, forward. That's the best fight for you. That's the best fight for a 6'6", 9.5-inch reach advantage type fighter to fight against. And there's a possibility in the moment of that fight, Errol Spence Jr. start to question himself. And if he's questioning himself in that fight, you don't want to be in that place in your head. You have to have a superior mindset. Just in case you have to weather a storm. Just in case you got to go that extra mile. You got to be willing and already in that mentality. You got to have that kind of zone where you're like, boom, boom, losing the fight and saying, he's cracking. Yeah, I'm going to get him this round. Yep. Believe in your training. Believe and remember why you're there. Remember what you trained to do. And watch for your moments and your opportunity to turn things around and be ready for it. You see? So that kind of mindset with Errol Spence Jr. right now too, on top of that, you can add on to the equation, he's going to be training with some new coach because Derek James and him parted ways. So whoever it is, I don't know who it is, Jerron Boots Ennis' dad, he send out some, but we don't know where he's going. I don't got any official confirmation. I haven't heard anything, but whatever his next fight's going to be, it's going to be also with a new trainer. So one new training camp under a new trainer, you're going to come out after that ass whooping, after all this, and you're just going to be what kind of fighter? Hell fucking yes, I'll take that fight. Rather than fighting, who are you? The number one pound for pound fighter in the fucking world. You're undefeated. You whooped his ass. You got all 4 belts and 2 cents. What the hell kind of record is that? Yo, that's some bullshit right there. No, I don't want to fight that man right now. No. Can we wait a little? Nah, man. Nah, every time I think about it, it's crazy. But you see, I think the WBO is going to punk him. And they're going to fuck with Terence Crawford because the WBO loves them some Terence Crawford. They actually do. Terence Crawford used the WBO structure to move up from 140 to 147. That was the first belt he got at 147, was the WBO. They love themselves some Terence Crawford. They love themselves the fact that he is one of the highly, if not the most highly decorated champion of our time right now. At least in that division. Let's just keep it right there. Okay. And that's hands down. So, having that champion with your belt around his waist, that's big. That's big. That's the kind of champion you want promoting your world title on a world stage. When they, excuse me, when the champions win belts, and if it's multiple champions, you always see those guys running to the ring and trying to put their belt on first. The WBC wants a shirt and a hat now. If they give you a hat like to outdo whatever other belts there, always to get your belt more notoriety, even Teofimo Lopez, right? Teofimo Lopez got hip to the game. And I want you to pay attention to something that happened. When Teofimo Lopez won that fight against Josh Taylor and he won the WBO, go back to the last round, whatever, and go to the ring, right? When they announced the winner, they announced Teo. And pay attention to the ceremony. They put the WBO title around his They went like this. They gave him the WBO, right? And while his hand was in the air, there was a guy standing right here. He tried to put a green interim belt on his hand, and Tio went and he didn't take it. Yeah. Go back and watch when they give him the WBO title. The belt, the guy standing right next to him, he has a green belt, a WB, and the WBC title wasn't even on the line that night. The WBC had nothing to do with that fight. They were trying to give Teal the recognition of the interim champion of the WBC just on the notoriety and the clout that he beat Josh Taylor, which was stripped of the belts. And Teal didn't accept it. They tried to do that to the Japanese star, and they did it to Teal one time. And it because that's fucked up, right? For the young man at the time, Teal. He beats Loma for 3 belts. And the ringside magazine belt was also on the line that night, I think, right? Yeah, I think so, because Vasily had it, right? Then all of a sudden, in the post fight and during the Corona time, they showed Teal up there. He didn't have one, but he had 2 green belts right here. And don't you know the WBC title wasn't on the line? Devin Haney was the real world champion. The WBC belt was never on the line that night. Okay. And the franchise belt that Loma has under the franchise rules, you can't win it in the ring. So Tio was never supposed to get the WBC title ever. And they had him thinking he had all 4 belts. Tio's on podcasts saying he's the undisputed champion, blah, blah, blah. And then when George Camboza beat him, that he tried the same claim that Tio, because he said, yo, Tio was saying it, so I'm the undisputed, but it wasn't so. And that's it. You know, the business is a dead, it's an ugly sport sometimes. And if you're not careful, you could be misled on what kind of champion you truly really are. And since Tio has already experienced that, and he saw that at the end of the Josh Taylor fight when they try to give him he didn't take it. He was skirt, nah, just take the WBO. That's it. I ain't gonna play that interim shit. And that's what I mean about being locked in on an interim championship. Sometimes you just gotta vacate that shit and go for the gusto, go for the real deal, you know? Because you'll be trapped with an interim belt for years, and the organization just wants to get money off of you, and keep you in that interim shit. You never see the interim champion and the regular champion of that same weight division ever fight. They never fight to unite the belt ever. It's very rare when you see that. The organization rather keeps 2 champions rather than just one. You see? So it's about money sometimes. So sometimes you got to watch what you take, unless that's, like, look, there are some men and women that they love the sport, they love being boxing, and they're fucking good. But there's just 1 or 2 fighters that got their number, and they just not at the elite level, and they're good fighters. And maybe an interim belt is, yo, that's good enough. You fucking got an interim championship. No one can ever take that away from you. I don't give a fuck, bro. It's still a fucking championship. You know what I mean? It might not go down as like a legit one, bro, but that's a great fucking accomplishment. But if that's all where you can be, I can see men and women getting interim. Yo, man, great. But if you want to be a different kind of champion and you got those kind of skills, you don't want to get locked down on no bullshit like that. Cause that's not where you want to be. When it's all said and done, when they count in your belts, you want them belts to be official. Official tissue, Jack. No jump mans here. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the Jays, baby, and you got Shaquille O'Neal on the side like this. Yo, Jordan never did that move. Yo, you want the real deals, right? Okay, then. So, in the sport, at the end of the day, that's what champions are going to look at, So, look, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? Armando. Just got home. Salute, baby. I'm watching the Diego Pacheco fight right now too. Is his shorts pink or is that blood on his shorts? Nah, they gotta be. I don't see none of these guys bleeding. Oh, they just like red, pink. Oh yeah, they are. They are. They are. Let's put this up here. Let's watch the fights too. I'm watching the rich. I'm gonna, get people prepared to talk about the Richardson Henderson fight. Now we're about to find out what this kid is about. He talked a lot of shit, coming up, and there was a couple of reporters, some guys that I know in the game was talking to him, and he was getting kind of gully with his lips, at the reporter dude. But my man held his own. I saw it. You know what I mean? Um, and that's how you got to be with these fighters, man. You just got to let them know, look, this shit ain't personal, bro. We just covering the sport, man. And whether we're not always kissing your fucking ass, take some constructive criticism and learn how to be like, okay, I see that's how you feel, or this person, or if that's an opinion. But now if they just talking facts and they talking numbers, don't get mad at the reporter for that. This is, there he is right there in the locker room. He looks relaxed. But tonight's going to answer a lot of questions on this young man right here. And, he's going to have to back it up. So this is what I want to see. Um, Larissa Shields is calling the fight too. Emo, he looks good right now. He looks good. Let's see what Richardson does, man. Everybody says they want that Haney fight until Haney sends him a contract. I'm not sure if Richardson. We're gonna see tonight. I want to see what he looks like if he's ready for a fighter like Haney just yet. You guys got to remember that, like me, when I was like watching boxing and I thought that boxing was based by how tough you were and how much you were willing to go in the inside and mix it up. But the sweet science is much more than that, and sometimes fights can look boring, but these are two really intelligent fighters, and they're reluctant to do so many mistakes, but one of them has to take the lead in the fight. Right? Fighters like Richard Henderson, like Matias, and I love me some Matias, but I'm no fool. I'm no fool. I know that the reason why Matias has had a lot of success is because he didn't have to chase down a lot of his fighters. The matchmakers matched up his fighters with him pretty well. And these guys were coming in, although they were strong fighters. And I talked about this, they were strong fighters. Some were knockout artists. Some had big output, volume, and punches. Um, and the way he dismantled that kind of a competition shows that in that style of a fight with those style of opponents, he's the best at that. He's the best. Now, could Subriel Matias um break down a fighter like Richardson Hitchison? Can he like Richardson Hitchison was saying that he would beat Matias because of his footwork and that he wouldn't just stand there in the middle. And Richardson Hitchison was on YouTube. He was in an interview, his coach, and he was talking about how they would invite a fight with Subriel Matias. and until Subriel comes up against the American slick style that's performed at a high level, they're saying then that's when Matias will be exposed, according to them. Okay. Now, I don't think so. I think that Matias is a strong fighter. He's also a really smart fighter. If he's going to take a couple of punches and he's making you exert energy, the one thing you don't want to do in a fight is be going backwards all night. And regardless if any of these guys can get on their bike, the only way they're going on their bike is going to be going backwards. In order to sustain something, you better be a special kind of human. You really better be. And you better be able to stand that, because I can tell you right now, I see Subriel Matia getting outclassed in a fight against Devin Haney in the early rounds. I do. I do. But I don't see him closing the fight. I think Subriel might be down on the scorecards coming into the 10th round, in fact, right? Or like the ninth or something. He might be down a round or two, right? And then that's where I think Subriel is gonna really the fight's gonna really favor him. Devin Haney, it showed when Loma was coming up in the later rounds with Devin was beat red. When you got him going backwards, you saw how exhausting that was for him, and he was putting everything behind them punches. Had Loma been just a bigger man, a little bit bigger, and a little bit stronger in his pressure, he might have beat Devin Haney that night. So it shows that with the right pressure and the right pushing Devin Haney back, he's gonna have to be peppering Subriel, and that's good. Listen, he's not a robot. And I think that if he can't get Subriel out of there by the seventh, eighth round, if Subriel is still in front of him, the fight's going to favor Subriel. And I think Subriel will knock him out. He'll break him. I don't think Devin Haney will make it out of the 12th round. He'll make it into the 12th, but I don't think he'll make it out. That's my prediction on that fight. If shall it happen, if it lined up like that, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't. I'm not too convinced that Devin Haney has fought enough big men and he's able to push Matias back. That's my only concern. The only person in that fight I see going backwards is Devin Haney. And going backwards, trust me, guys, when I tell you, it is exhausting to fight going backwards and give offense, and sometimes have to fight off the back foot. When Devin Haney's gonna want to fight, and put his front foot down and sit on some of his punches. And he's gonna trade with Matias, but he's gonna find out the hard way who the bigger puncher is. And that's when we'll see. Devin Haney can surprise the whole world, just like Isa Pitbull Cruz did. I didn't think Isa Pitbull Cruz was a better puncher, heavier puncher than Rolly. And on that night, he was. We will not know this until the day that they're in the ring with each other. And like I said, I've been saying this for a very long time. We're watching young Devin Haney grow up right before our eyes. I guarantee it. You guys are gonna know a noticeable difference on the night he fights Ryan Garcia. I guarantee you, you're gonna be like, huh? And he's gonna look more like a man. Like Devin, I mean, he looks like a man, but like an older gentleman. He's gonna be looking like he's growing into, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not a young man no more, you know? So yeah, man. I already expected this from Devin Haney. I already expected this, but Kid B Subriel just be that guy. Is he that fighter that he's everybody's boogeyman? He is what they say he is. A lot of guys have a lot of flaws and they try to like judge you on that. But me, as a boxing observer, I understand that every fighter doesn't fight or do the same thing against the next fighter. There are certain things you can get away with in a fight. And there's certain punches that Subriel must have felt like this guy don't got no power. He can't hurt me. So he might have just said, I could take his punches. And that's the reason why he got hit, because he already felt the guy's power. He was in at the point where he was like, this guy, yo, you ain't got nothing for me. And he was trying to get him out of there, you know. So he took chances in that situation. That doesn't mean that Subriel Matias, every fight is going to go out there and just get cracked by these guys. No, no, if you didn't notice, right? Subriel was getting touched up in the first round with Ponce. For God's sake, he threw 100 punches, right? In the first round, right? But if you notice, he was tighter on his defense. You know, and that guy, what was his name? Jukenbai was flooring shots at Subriel Matias. Jukenbai. He was boom, 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 right? And Subriel was blocking them shots. But once he saw that he couldn't, yo, he was, oh, hell no, bendito. Esto me lo voy a comer aquí. He already knew. So I'm smart enough to know that Subriel is not going to allow a guy that can crack touch him like that. Nah, he must have already felt like, man, he ain't got nothing. I'm walking through his shit. So you don't fight a fighter the same. And these guys are trying to judge him on that. They're going to fuck around and make a mistake. They're going to fuck around and misjudge and make a miscalculation with Subriel Matias. Because one, he's a lot faster than what these guys are saying. You know, they're saying, oh, he be pop sign. You're like that. Bro, George Foreman didn't look fast. But what happened to the guys that were standing in front? Oh, wait, hold up. Wait, come on. What you doing down there, Holmes? Get up. Yo, George would lay him out and he looked slow as hell, right? It was like boom, boom. But them punches was heavy, baby. You ever heard the expression? He got heavy hands, right? That George was heavy handed, like, yo, and he was laying him out. Subriel looked like he got heavy hands, man. When he's sending his last 5 opponents straight to the hospital. Straight to the hospital. You know, so, you know, he's a very dangerous fighter. Yeah, any man can be beat. I'm in agreement with that. Any man in this world can be beat. If you think you're the baddest motherfucker in this world, don't worry. Here comes that man. The guy that's going to finally beat you. So there's no Superman. There's no Superman in this game, you know, but I wish him all the luck in the world. I'm rooting for him in every fight. Subriel Matias. You know, oh, speaking of which, I tried to buy the tickets, and I don't know if you guys were wondering if I got them, but they didn't go on sale. I waited all night on midnight and shit. Yo, I called my man. I was like, yo, what the fuck? They're not coming up. I thought they sold out at one point. I was stressing. I waited until my man woke up in the morning. I felt like it was good enough. It was like, you know what I'm saying, 6:30 in the morning. I felt like that was good enough for you to be up. You know, nah. I called him about 9, right? So I calls him and he goes, nah, they postponed the ticket sales and they gonna come out on the 9th. So I was like, all right. So now I gotta wait. So like I was stressed out that whole day. I didn't even go on. I was tight because I thought I lost them. Like I was like, fuck, where the fuck? I couldn't find a site, all kinds of shit. But I got the site and everything. They just not posted. So on the 9th is when they go on. Let me see if I can scoop those, and then we'll talk more about that. But yeah, I haven't got them yet. So but let me catch up to you guys. Henny took less money to fight Ryan, 45-55. Pacheco looks like, and they exchanging here. They were slugging it out. Devin Haney understands the magnitude of some of these events. Devin Haney is what you call a businessman. Okay. You see, you can't be distracted by some, okay, this is what's really going on. This is what's going on. Devin Haney might be taking less money for the purse. Let's say they offer him, I don't know, $4 or $5 million for the fight, and they give Ryan Garcia $2 million for the fight. Well, off pay-per-view sales, Devin Haney's gonna make about another 17, $16 million, maybe $20 million off pay-per-view sales alone. The purse of that fight is going to be peanuts compared to the money he stands to make on pay-per-view sales. So that's why in secret, Devin Haney can afford to take less, because on the pay-per-view rights, he's probably got 100% of the pay-per-view rights. Or he might have gave Ryan 20% and took 80. You see? Because he blinded Ryan Garcia with the purse. And that's like a old trick. You don't got to reveal your pay-per-view sales, because that's not about your Ryan has no ties to it, right? If it's all Devin Haney, he's the only pay-per-view fighter on the card. Ryan Garcia, you know what I'm saying? Well, Ryan Garcia fought pay-per-view too. So he might be getting a better split. I forgot about that. He might be getting a split because he has fought on pay-per-view once or twice. Ryan, he did with Tank Davis, right? And that was it, I think, with Tank Davis. And that was Tank Davis's money. That wasn't Ryan Garcia's money. So I'm not sure if Ryan Garcia ever held a pay-per-view fight himself where he was headlining the fight, and he was like hosting the night, like Tank Davis did, like Devin Haney's doing right now. You see? So depending on what that is. So the money, when you hear about the purses, I'm just, revealing, oh, wait a minute. Errol Spence Jr. and Derek James, right? Okay. Perfect example. Derek James was getting 10% of Errol Spence Jr.'s contract for the fight purse. So Errol Spence Jr. got 2 point something million dollars for the fight. 10% of that was 250,000 is what he gave Derek James. But now it's reported that he made somewhere upwards. What's up? Money, what did it say? H Money? What's up, baby? Thank you for subscribing to Round One Sports Talk. You know how we do, baby. Thank you. You're the best. So Errol Spence Jr. on pay-per-view got estimated in between like 22 and $25 million on the back end with just pay-per-view. But for the fight, he got 2.3. You see how that works? So that 45%, 25 with Ryan, that's just to trick him into signing the paper like I'm offering you more because of his name. Because on the pay-per-view, that's on Devin Haney's name. He gonna make like $30 million, bro, off that shit. Fuck the fucking 2.3, man. Matter of fact, that 2.3, I'll give it to my dad, my trainer, and I'll pay the sanctioning fees on the belt for the WBC. My money's coming from pay-per-view, baby, and sponsorships, and that's how they make all their money. It's that the belts, what they provide for you is the world stage and their belt. Without their belt and their world stage, you don't make no pay-per-view money. You don't make no sponsorships. You don't make any ties with anything. Nobody wants to wear your sweater, your jacket. If you didn't have that world stage, fuck around and try to do it by yourself without their belt and just call yourself the neighborhood champion. See how far you get. And they know that. You see, but that money is peanuts compared to that pay-per-view money, baby. So yeah, that's how that works. So when you hear things like that Ryan took 40, right? Devin Haney don't care really. I mean, he does care about the money, how much they paying him from, because every penny counts, So let me retract that, right? It's not like he'll fight for free, but he makes a lot of money elsewhere. Yeah, a lot of these big star fighters. Not every fighter can do that. A lot of fighters got to depend on what that purse money is. That's everything right there. I'm not getting no pay-per-view. I don't got no sponsors like that. That money right there is that money, bro, and I need that. So, but some of these fighters are fortunate enough to be in situations where they make a lot of money elsewhere, and that's how that works. H Money, what up, baby? Salute, baby. Thank you for joining the channel. Listen, I tell you right now, you know, some of the best fights right now that are, I want, you know what I want to see? Actually, you know what I want to see? I want to see fucking Devin Haney fight Jukumbai or the other guys that Matthias fought. When I see, like the last five fighters that Matthias fought, that he made them all retire, everybody except the Hitcherson guy, right? Everybody except him, right? I would like to see Devin Haney fight. Yeah. I would like to see him fight those kind of guys because I also want to see what he looks like against those kind of fighters, the strong kind of fighters, those kind of guys. Because not a lot of those guys have a lot of head movement. Neither does Matias. Matias does not possess that head movement. He's kind of like this coming forward, and I that's one of the things that I would like him to work on more, to be more elusive with his head. He's so focused like a Terminator as a fighter, Matias, that he's actually looking to set up his punch. He's been watching how you throw your hand, what the tails when you're going to fire a double one, or what the tail is when you're just snapping your jab rather than shooting. You're right. And then the window of opening is there. That's what he's looking for. He's very good at that. But he doesn't move his head enough where that he's getting out like this. He's mostly just up like this and just scooting down or scooting up. He sometimes brings up his arm or he just leaves it here. He bends his knees. And if you bend your knees with your arm like this, you don't even got to move your arm. You could protect your body and your face at the same time if you just move in position. You see, like this. You don't actually have to raise your hand or lower your hand. You don't. You just leave your hand here and move your body. You see, you just bend your knees. That's it. So Matias does that very well on the inside. But I reintegrate this. I'm say this again and again. A fight with Devin Haney is not going to look like that. It's not going to look like those other guys that fought him that were just coming straight forward at him. Mateo was coming to them, they were coming to him, and there was really very little running or anything in any of his fights. And I did notice that. I did notice he hasn't really faced an elusive type fighter yet. The closest fighter just Ponce, he stopped. He took all that momentum by the second round. He had already went to the body so strong and rattled them that Ponce literally stood in front of him. And that was it. So that shit only lasted about one round. So I really never saw him in a ring with a guy that's really elusive. We're about to watch Richardson Hitchison, and I want to see what all his talk and his all his little excuses and what he looks like against these kind of fighters, and if he's ready at this level to make a run at the top guys. you know um as you can see, everyone, all three of the champions have already made it clear that they're interested on fighting Isa Pitbull Cruz. He has a target on him the size of fucking right. Every one of the champions have already made it clear. And did you notice that every champion did it with a little class? No, no, no. Eastside Pitbull Cruz did great. Devin Haney. Eastside Pitbull did great. He took care of business. He looked strong. That looks like it would be definitely a tough fight for me. Right. Don't let him run. Don't let him run away, right? Yo, Tio said something to congratulations. Yo, Teofimo Lopez. Maybe the punches are doing something to his head. I don't know. But the last little TikTok thing he did or whatever, the little video, yo, his statement didn't even make no kind of sense, right? He says, "Oh, Rolly against Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Rolly went into the fight with a bad back and he had neck issues. Oh, you guys didn't know about that? Well, it's time to expose fighters. I don't care. I'm exposing them." I'm like, how are you building an excuse for a guy, then taking it like you're taking shots at him and exposing him? And you're saying, you're blatantly saying he had a bad back, a bad neck, and he loses the fight, but you're saying you acknowledge that. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Tio, bro? Then he's like, yeah, I'm exposing fighters, blah, blah, right? Like in the same sentence. I was just like, yo, this dude is all over the place. He don't even know how to talk shit anymore, right? So Tio's like, he want to fight Isa Pitbull Cruz too, and Subriel is like, yo, listen, Isa, yo, congratulations, get this joker out of here. I consider you a great fighter. Maybe me and you, we can meet up and have a mega showdown. They all want a shot at him, right? Yo, it's crazy, right? So you see him? You see the slugging? Don't think I ain't watching this the Diego fight where I'm chopping it up with you, because the Diego fight's right there, right? And you see how wide those punches are? They're getting tired, man. They were getting tired. Tired, tired, tired. That's what it is. In a fight, a lot of things that fighters don't take into consideration while you're sparring and training inside of gyms and shit, that in the gym, you don't have all that pressure. You got a guy, you guys are boxing and stuff, and you guys are going at each other hard. And at some point in your sparring, your coaches are going to let you guys go at it. Sometimes you're going to be working on some shit. And if some guy gets dropped, they're going to stop it. Or if somebody gets hurt, they'll be, there's nothing on the line here. We have bigger gloves on, headgear on. But when you're in this ring like this, and you have all the anxiety of your family being out in the crowd, your girls watching you, everybody at home, you're on a world stage. And you know what happens to the people that get knocked out viciously nowadays. You become a meme, okay? And the anxiety of the event and you tensing up every time because you want to win so much that you're like, yo, on flinches alone, I've seen a guy not throw one punch for 2 rounds and get gassed out. No, you heard me correctly. The guy that didn't throw one punch got gassed out, and he went 2 rounds and he didn't throw one punch. All he was doing, the guy in front of him, was flinching at him, and he was going like this. He was tense, going like this for 2 rounds, like this, that he gassed himself out, and he never threw a punch. Yeah, just that itself. Who won? Oh, Diego won. C4. That makes me laugh. C4. It was a movie back in. Anyway, he wants Berlanga. That would be a good fight, actually. I think he's ready for Berlanga. Yeah, I think he is. I Berlanga was, definitely wasn't ready for the fighter they were talking about. But that would be a good fight right there. That's a good fight. That would be a good fight. Yeah. You would rather see Richardson versus Devin Haney than Devin Haney versus Teal? What fight was it? Wait a minute. Let me back up here. They should fight. They should fight each other first. Teo versus Haney is a mega fight. It is a mega fight. And I believe that's a fight that should happen first. And then I definitely believe that Subriel Matias versus Isa Pitbull Cruz will be just as entertaining, if not just better. I believe both those men are will that would never be a boring fight. That is instant fireworks, and someone's going out in that fight. And honestly, guys, I don't count out Isa Pitbull Cruz. I don't count out the Mexicans. Never. A Mexican Puerto Rican rivalry. Now that's boxing. That's boxing right there. We have rich boxing history between our two nations. You know, Mexico and Puerto Rico. Come on, baby. It doesn't get any more boxing than that. All right. So, you know, that's a good fight in so many different ways. And, you know, you can put that, you know, I don't think that it would be in Puerto Rico, and I also don't think it would be in Mexico, that fight. I wouldn't mind it being in Las Vegas, but as far as Devin Haney goes, the other night when I said it, the last fight to be in Vegas, I stand to be corrected because I started thinking Devin Haney's from Las Vegas. That's his hometown, and that would be giving Devin Haney the home field advantage. So if it was Devin Haney, I wouldn't have Subriel fight him in Las Vegas. No. Well, I don't care that you make Vegas money. We'd have to make Vegas money elsewhere. Maybe in Saudi Arabia. Maybe in the Saudi. That would be a good place because there would be no advantage for neither fighter, you know? And plus you'd probably be making a shitload of money. You know, that would be a great fight, in fact. But Puerto Rico versus Mexico, Devin Haney, US versus Honduras, you know, and yeah, actually Teal's an American. You know, he wants to represent his Honduran flag because I don't think he was born out there, was he? I think he was born in New York, right? Teal? His father's from out there, right? That's how he goes. So he actually might be just being an American that's, you know, fronting with your flag because I had to find out the hard way with being Puerto Rican. Um, you know, like any race, I guess it's like this. You know, if you haven't really noticed it, right? Um, if you're, let's say, Dominican, right? Because Puerto Rico's already America, so I don't want to use us as an example because you're American either way. It doesn't matter, right? Okay. But if you're Dominican Republic, if you're Dominican, right, and you come out to America, you could be deported back to Santo Domingo because you're an illegal immigrant, right? Okay. So at any time, you could be successful, establish a store. America's will watch you, and you're getting established. That's why they're letting them build. Then they come in and they tell you real quick, either you do what we say, right? Or we ship you back and your kids will stay here because they were born here, right? They are no longer Dominicans. They can't, the Dominicans that were born here in US, they need a passport now to go to Santo Domingo. Just because they're Dominican, you know, blood doesn't mean no, they're no longer Dominican. And you learn that the hard way because when you go back to Santo Domingo, Dominicans over there will ask you, where were you born? Oh, in America. They'll say you're not Dominican then. Your own people won't accept you. Right? So the Dominicans ain't going to accept you as a real Dominican because you were born in America. And in America, right? You see what I'm saying? So whether you know it or not, yeah, your nationality is Dominican, but you're an American. You see what I'm saying? You're an American, man. And that's the harsh reality of it. So Teal could be like, yeah, Honduras, yeah, but At the end of the day, you notice you go to boxing record, and a lot of these guys like David the Monster Benavidez, he doesn't have a Mexican flag. He doesn't have the other flag. They got him an American flag because that's what he is. The minute you're born here, that's it. Just like any other rules in any other country. Let's say you and your parents, let's say you're not you, let's say your parents are Americans and they travel to Russia for some business conference. Your mother was 9 months pregnant with you, right? During the time you're out in Russia, if your mother gives birth to you in Russia, I don't give a fuck if you're black, Chinese, Puerto Rican. I don't care what your parents are. The minute she gives birth to you in Russia, guess what you are for the rest of your life? A Russian. You're gonna need to get paperwork. Your parents can come back to the US, but they're gonna have to get something for you. They're gonna have to get some paperwork done. You're a Russian. You're not an American. You're a Russian. So even if your parents, you come back, you're like, man, I was never from there. My parents were on a business conference. That's how it went. You couldn't become the president of the United States of America because you were born in Russia. You're not an American. You're a Russian. You see? So it's kind of like where you were born. So, like, when you come out here, no matter what nationality you are, whether you're Japanese, Chinese, Dominican, North Korean, Russian, the minute you're born here, that's it. You're an American. Yeah, I learned that out the hard way. I was like, that's how that shit works. They're like, yeah, your birthday. I was like, fuck. I was like, but all right, all right. I guess we still the same. Right? So a lot of these fighters, you're gonna see that their flags, they alternate their flags because you got the right to want to pick whatever you want, but at the end in the record books, that's gonna go down as another American champion. And that's why I said all of that to say this: no matter when you win the belt, when Tio wins his belts, they go count it as American champions, no matter what. When David the Monster Benavidez wins belts, it goes down as an American champion. Yeah. When Subriel Matias wins a belt, it goes down as an American champion. Puerto Rico is America. So in the history books, Subriel Matias is really written down in the history as another American champion, and they give Puerto Rico recognition. Under the underline, they'll note that he was a Puerto Rican fighter. That's what they'll do. But in the thing, he's an American. Yeah. So that's how it goes. What? I would love to add that I was Brazilian since birth because I was born in. Yeah. You guys want to know one of the biggest arguments in my house is, right? As being a Puerto Rican, right? Was like discovering what we were. You know what I mean? The island was called Borinquin, and Taino Indians lived there. And Spain voyagers, at the time, Spain was very rich, and they wanted to travel and discover other lands. So on their boats, they had Spaniards and black slaves were on the boat. When they arrived to Puerto Rico, which was called Borinquin at the time, they it were Taino Indians, right? So ironically, they stood there a couple months, got back on the boats. Some of the Spaniards and some of the black slaves said, we were dying of diseases on the boat. We were out there 6, 7, 9 months, 10 months, just going around, in the water. And they already hit land, and they were like, yo, listen, we're gonna start living here, right? So they were there on the island, right? So somewhere on the island, something happened. I don't know. Somebody banged somebody's chief's daughter. I don't know what happened, right? But they came to the chief and was like, "Yo, the baby's gonna be born black or something, right? Or Spaniard, right?" You cheat. The daughter was doing something she shouldn't have been doing. I'm making a hypothetical story. This story about this, how this came out, but I'm just playing. Something happened, right? Because the point I'm trying to get to is that the island got to a point where they didn't call each other black, Spaniard, or Taino Indian. They did away with racism. From that moment on, they had decided they were going to be on that island and live as one. We're going to call ourselves one name, Boricua. Boricua, in translated in English, means brave lords. So they were no longer, you were black, you were Spain, no, we were one as people. Until America came to Puerto Rico, they divided us and gave us Puerto Rican and labeled us Hispanic and introduced races to us, because according to us, when we were by ourselves, there was no races. We were all the same people. You see? So when our women and our men came to America, some women dated black dudes, some black women like Spanish men, right? And they have a kid. So that's happened in my family many a times, right? So my uncle come in with his kid or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And the kid will look at me and he'll be dark. He's dark as fuck. He got a little afro. And he says, I'm black, bro. Right? And I'm looking at him. I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, bro, I'm black, man. My father's black. My aunt's black. I was raised with them. I'm black, bro. I'm like, no, you're not. He goes, what am I? I go, you're 100% Boricua. That's what you are. He goes, how you figure? My father's black and my mom's Puerto Rican. I goes, no, that is a Puerto Rican. In order to make a Boricua, you have to have black, Spain, and Taino Indian. So let's just check this out. If I had a lettuce and I added tomatoes and lettuce and I slid you the lettuce and I said, add something, and you just put more lettuce in it and pass it back, does it turn into a hamburger? No. You're just adding something that's already there. Your mom already had African blood in her. Your father might have put some more in her, but just because you added more, that doesn't change you. Bro, it's not like your dad was Asian or your dad was Russian. No, your dad's black. We already got that. So you're just Puerto Rican. Right? You didn't add anything. Right? So we be having this argument in my household for a long time. Trust me. Right? Right? So I'll just, but I just be like, yo, I say what you want. You can talk it, you can think it, you can say it, but the government got a thing called Social Security, and behind your back, you're gonna go down as Puerto Rican. That's what's gonna happen at the end. It's crazy. What the fuck is this? Anthony Joshua highlights with Usyk. Oh yeah, they showing a Tyson Fury fight. That's gonna be a big fight. Yeah, he's probably gonna beat him. Tyson Fury's probably gonna beat him. Maybe, I don't know. What's up, man? Lionheart, how you doing, brother? Yeah, like there's a lot of like nationality. It's crazy. You find out like when I looked up my Puerto Rican culture, I found out that Puerto Ricans and Puerto Rico is the second youngest ethnic group to evolve in the world. We're like the second race, the last. We're second to last to evolve as all the races in the world. Yeah, so that's how new we were. They were already Indians, Russians, Chinese, Japanese people, cultures were already started and established. We were on an island out there by ourselves too, but we weren't as established, until the US made that treaty with them, which I'm not sure if it was good or bad. I'm not going to sit here and talk politics, but I'll run down a little bit of history about who I am and where my people come from. A little, you know what I mean? It's interesting, but yeah, like, it's, we still I got our flag though, so yeah, it is what it is, you know. Dominicans do the same thing. Yeah, yeah, they do. They do. They kind of do, right? Um yeah, because it's just funny. It's just funny. Like my niece is telling me, nah, yo, I'm black. I'm like, yeah, really, you are? I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, you're not. And she be like, why? I was like, cause you ain't adding nothing. No, I be laughing. I love her to death. She's the best. Yeah, yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, real quick, before this fight starts, right? We start talking boxing again. Because I want to start talking boxing, guys, and really talk about what's going on. Um, and how like a lot of things are starting already to move around. But real quick, Amando, do you know where the word spick comes from in Puerto Rico? Do you know where the word spick, how it came about? You know, did you ever find out the history about that word? Well, from what I know, right, the word spick comes from back in like the early 1960s or whatever it was, whatever year it was, a Spanish woman, she came from Puerto Rico and she was trying to find get help, get assistance through government funding, right? The welfare, right? So she goes down to the welfare office and she had a note in her hand, and she got there and she gives the note to the guy behind the counter, and the guy behind the counter read the note, and the note said, it was messed up, it was spelt wrong too. It said, me no speak English. He said, me no speak, me no speak. He said, me no speak, go sit down over there. And he kept making fun of her because she kept saying, me no speak English. And that's where the word speak comes from Spanish men and women trying to find help. That's where it comes from. Yeah. Yup. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You got it. Yeah. He has to get a great performance if he wants to become a big name. Richardson Hitchison. His and all the stuff that him and his coach have been saying. And then he's criticizing a lot of boxers of late. You see how he's making and he's categorizing different boxers, and he's the way he's. But this is what you got to do. I can't be mad at the young man. If you're if you're gonna put yourself and and call these people out and let it be known that you want a shot too at some of the top guys in the division, well then this is what you got to do. You got to open your mouth. There's a lot of guys that are skilled but they're real quiet. They take the sport too honorable, and I understand the honor in fighting. I understand it, and it shouldn't be about shit talking, but we're past that. And then in the pro stage, there's an entertainment part of all of this. And sometimes you might have to get your name out there and do a little shit talking and also tell the truth. You feel like a beast. You feel like the best. You're better than all these suckers. Then fucking say it, bro. Get on the mic and say it. But there's one thing you need to do, and you better back it up. When their fight comes, and listen, they got videos on them dudes. What they call when shit talking gone wrong? They got videos of that, and you don't want to be on it in reels. So if you talk this much and you put yourself, this was all a plan from Hitchinson's team. We need to get ourselves out there. If you want these big, then say it like it is. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest, damn it. So now Richard Hitchinson, he done put himself in a situation where, damn it, he needs a good performance. He, uh, you know, he can't go to a 12-round decision and say, you know, oh, beat your chest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want this guy. He got to do something right now, and the fight's about to start. So we are here. Who's this? No, this is not. This is not them yet. Is it? No, they're not. Is it? Who's getting in the ring? I can't see because it's just a bunch of black, dark with some lights now. Okay, okay, okay. Here we go. It's them. Let's go. Sergio said the last time he went the distance was 6 years ago. He's not built for going a distance. It's a dangerous fighter right there. He might not be as skilled as Richardson, right? In technical aspect, right? But in heart and will and never counting yourself out of the fight, he's one of those type of guys, and he's got skill. I just said he won't look like him, but he has a different fighting style that's very effective, so let's see if it's effective against a fighter such as Richard. And that's all. That's why we're here tonight. Which, in fact, right? That's fucking crazy. Every time I look in the 135 weight division, it's fucking empty, bro. Empty, man. Here we go. Yeah, nobody's talking about him because he's coming up. Yeah, but he has to win. These guys are talking like this guy should have already been getting his chance. You see how they try to talk guys up in fights? They're talking him up like they've been avoiding him or something. He's working his way up the ladder. He has to win fights like this to put himself in position because there's other fighters like Jukumbai and all them other guys that have already gotten shots because they were there and ready. While this man right here was being managed well, fight by fight, and matchmakers were putting him against good fights where he would look the best in, which usually is what that you want for your fighter. That's why when it's sometimes that's good and bad. Because as a matchmaker and as a manager, you gotta recognize when you gotta take the training wheels off your fighter. You can't keep matching him up well with these kind of opponents, and then when he finally gets in with another guy, it's kind of like he's been lied to. You want to see if your fighter can fight any style. I like his jacket, Hitchison. See, look at this, right? You look around the ring, and the arena's not even sold out. There's a lot of empty seats on this side right here, right? But yet these guys want to fight against Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, but they ain't selling out arenas. You're not making that kind of money because you haven't really won those kind of fights. But yet they want to talk them up like, look how many empty seats are in that arena. The whole top row is empty. Look at all, and this is the main event. You see? And that's the problem with some of these guys. They want millions and millions of dollars for fights, but they ain't selling out their fights. You see? So, whenever you can tell that a fighter as a fight is not sold out, it's when you can't see the crowd and it's real dark. Go back and watch any Tank Davis fight you want. Go back and watch any Naoya Inoue. The lights are on. You can see everybody sitting in the front row, all the actors' faces, movie star, whoever's there. You can see it. Go look at Terrence Crawford. But look at this fight right here. Notice the difference. The crowd is dark as hell. They don't want to show you the crowd, all of it. Look how dark it is. You can't even see the people. The lights are going by on the more popularity areas, you know? But you gotta make your way. You gotta win these kind of fights right here. And this is important for both men actually. IBF North American title. The IBF North American. But you get those kind of belts, and you get yourself in position to win the big fights, then vacate those belts and then go after the bigger ones. Definitely. Here we go. It's gonna be a body shot. What do you guys think it's gonna be? Oh, they love overhyping fighters, Carlos. You know how they do. You know it. But you gotta catch that shit. You know, if you tell it right, they act like Devin Haney's been ducking him or something, right? The way they talk about him. Gustavo Limos. Yeah. He's got to watch that overhand right. You could see that he's just trying to set it up. He's going to the body to get him to sleep, and then he's gonna try to hit Hitchins and Hitch. He's reading it. Yeah, pop that jab, move side to side. Yeah, you see, he's just overhand right. He ducked underneath it, turn out, spin out, pepper him a little. cut back into the stomach. Cut back, body shot. What's up? That's those kind of fighters are just special. It's not about the money with Naoya in a way. It's not, like fighters like Devin and these guys. Terrence wants to get paid now. Terrence took a lot of pay cuts in his career to get the fights he needed to do. That's championship shit. It's not about money all the time. It's about legacy. It's about securing your legacy at the end of the day. He has someone he can fight against to defend all four belts and check that box while at the same time getting revenge for Japan and his former champion. He said in his interview that he didn't want to bring that into the fight because he doesn't need any motivation to whoop Louis Nari's ass. He doesn't need any motivation for that. But if Lewis wants to keep bringing it up, he will. This fight right here looks like it's going to really start to pick up the third, fourth round. Richardson is making a lot of reads. He's trying to get his timing, is what I see him doing. He's measuring his jab, trying to really like he's seeing what he can get, how fast he is. He wants him to reveal his hand to him. Right hand lands. Yep. Yeah, I expected that to happen. Him have a little moment, but Richardson is going to take over this fight. Third, fourth round, fourth round mainly, I believe. That's usually typically when a fighter starts to like really open up. It's the fourth round of the fight. Um, so yeah, suspect. Listen, but this guy right here wants Devin Haney. This guy wants Subriel Matias. This guy wants Tio. You know, he's gonna have to do something. But I think just maybe he was making a lot of reads that first round. I hope that's not how he fights. Boom, he got hit with the bigger shots. That gave away the round. Richard Hitchins did not win that round. Those jabs ain't gonna count for shit. That snapping, it's the effective punching. So he's down one round right now. Hmm. Good movement. Why are you on the ropes? Why is he okay? So far, he showed me he can be elusive, a little good defensive. I need some offense. He's bullying this kid right now. Where the fuck is Hitchens' power at? Yeah, there you go. On big right hand. That was the bigger right hand of the whole round. So far, he's winning this round too. Gustavo is there's 50 seconds still left in the round, so far he's winning this round too. Devin Haney does not fight like this. Gabriel Matias does not fight like this, Richardson. Teofimo Lopez does not fight like this, homeboy. You don't got enough output, enough in your legs, in your fight arsenal, besides grabbing this guy so far for 2 rounds. He hasn't showed me anything that I believe this young man can get in there with Esau Pitbull Cruz. I put Esau Pitbull Cruz on his ass fighting like this. Like I said, I'm expecting the fight to break out in the fourth round, third, fourth round. I said right, mainly in the fourth round. It's when I expect the fight, but I didn't expect for Richardson just to give away the rounds. I think that's what he's doing. I hope this is not the best of his fighting ability. I'm expecting to see an offense from the kid. He's yet to give any real offense or put any of his combinations together or any punch selection together but that jab. Okay. So, I'm expecting him to like warm up. There's guys that have started slow in boxing. Okay, let me see what happens. Maybe he's trying to gas him out, drag him to deep waters, and really punish him. But he's better do something because in by the time the fourth round comes, if he ain't changing up, get off the ropes. Of course, they're forward aggressor and he's landing. He's got the first 2 rounds. What are you talking about? This announcer thinks like he didn't win those rounds. Nah, he won them rounds. I need more offense from Hitchins too, man. But I'm here. He is. He's warming up. Here's the third. Here's the third. He's warming up. Yeah, that's true. He has been fighting this pace his whole career. It's whether we haven't seen Hitchison fight at this pace or anyone that's given him this kind of challenge. In fact, I haven't seen him get this hit. Yeah. Good body shot. Yo, here we go. This is where the fight's gonna start. Right here. Fourth round. Watch this, guys. This if it doesn't pop off right here, then he still thinks that he's still strong. He doesn't feel him like. But I think Hitchins is getting. He's already starting to get his like. He's starting to get loose into the fight, and he's starting to get his range. That was a good slick body shot coming, opening the bell right there. He's got it. You know what? He's not allowing Richardson Hitchison to be at the proper distance to throw his punch, and Hitchison is not seeing the window. He doesn't. He has to learn at sometimes not to see it, to do it instinctively, to throw the punch. He knows how to fight. He knows how to throw it. He just doesn't have the right distance. And since this guy's pressure, he doesn't stay still. Richard Hitchison knows that he's just going to get stuffed at a certain point once he makes that first move. See, so when he ever stays still, you notice that Richard Hitchison starts putting his punches together when he's staying still in front of him. See that? But as long as he got that pressure and he got him like going back and shit, Richard Hitchison doesn't know how to deal with that. He needs good distance. You can see it. He needs you to stand there for him to open up. He can't like do it on the fly. See, he just keeps going backwards. He'll decide to go in a more defensive posture, not to take all, damage. But he doesn't know how to fight with that pressure. See, the only time he lets off is when he's standing in front of him. And I told you the fight was going to jump off at the fourth round for him. He's fighting better. He's throwing, for once, he threw combinations in the round. So far, he's taking his power. He doesn't seem to have that kind of power or that pop in his punch. Hitchins. He just, yeah. I knew I was going to get better output out of him in the fourth round. I was going to get a better output out of him. I just knew it. But depending on the output and what it looks like, Homeboy is burning a lot of energy, but he fights like this the entire 12 rounds, and the announcer was right. He does. He looks just like this all 12 rounds. So, and I've seen him go like that. Now, I never seen Richard Hitchison do it. Much better round. I told you he was gonna fight much better in the fourth round. I told you. And from here on in, depending how he can also sustain it, Richardson is gonna try to take control of the fight from here on in. By the sixth round, the other dude is gonna slow down substantially, but it also depends how much damage did Hitchison sustain leading into the sixth round we're about to see. He's getting caught with some big shots, and he might get caught with enough punches when that he wants to turn on the engine and the engine stalls out on you. You know, his plan is to drag him into deep water and then turn it up. But if you take too much damage, your body might not respond to you when you want it to. So you got to be careful on what he's taking. That was a good shot opening the round, Richard Hitchison. He's starting to turn it up. He's being alive now. He's a live dog now. Fourth round started waking him up. I told you. It's usually when typically a fighter starts to really, the nerves is already gone. You got hit by the best shots he's got to offer, and you're in the fight now. Now he's going to start to put his punches together. The only thing I don't like with Richard Hitchison is that every time the guy makes an attempt to throw a punch, he automatically goes in a defensive shell or goes backwards. So that read is definite. As long as you're throwing punches, he's not throwing any offense. He's not catching you in between your shots. He's not countering your punches. He's not a very good counter puncher. He's a good boxer. He's boxing now. That's exactly what he's doing. But he's not countering any of his punches at all. Yeah, that jab. And to the body. Yep. Good jab. He's gonna have to hit him with something, decent. I want to see him hit him with something at least that gives him a little respect, man, and get this guy to stop just coming through the fucking front door, bro. Be patient, faint upstairs, and hit him with the uppercut right straight down the middle. Both his elbows are out like this, and this right here in the middle is wide open. Sell it upstairs and come in and hit him right in the jaw. Or work off his jab. If he snaps that stupid little jab or that little hook, either I have a better punch. He should just try it to the body. He's not known for his power, and you can see it. He doesn't have that kind of power. But yeah, he wants to fight Subriel Matias like this. Are you fucking crazy, Hitcherson? Bro, you might want to like slow down on the shit talking, my man. And you, ooh, Limos is just coming over the top. And the overhand, and Richard Henderson knew this from the beginning of this fight that overhand was going to be that fight, the punch, his punch, Limo's punch. Yeah, he's got a. What did he smack? They smack size of face. Sneaky little uppercut on the inside for Limo. Nice shot. That jab is just peppering him. I mean, the jab so far is really Richardson's best fight, and this guy's are his hooks. So that's what we're basically see once he gets hit, he's Hitcherson, he just stays. Rather than as soon as his punch hits his glove, hit off of that punch. He's never done that. He's never countered any of his punches. It's you punch, I punch. You punch, I punch. When you punch, I block, then I punch. That's you know, uh-uh. He and Richardson ain't making a lot of reads. I mean, he's making a couple, but as you can see, this is what I talk about at the some of the bigger levels. There's levels to this boxing shit, and right now Richard Hitchison is just fighting and mixing in boxing with the fighting. It's basically what he's doing. He's not changing anything up. He's not making adjustments and he's not making really reads. He's just knows what this guy wants to do. He's, hooking. He has a lot of pressure. So he's basically fighting the storm. But he's not planning anything. He's not setting them up for anything. If it happens, it happens. If it comes, it comes. Type fight. That's it. He's not baiting them for no traps, nothing. He's just fighting them. That's basically what you're seeing right here. And that's the difference between good fighters and elite fighters. There's a plan sometimes, not just preparation. You're preparing for a fight. That's different, between you and your manager, I mean, you and your coach, preparing you for situations in boxing matches, and shall a situation arise, take advantage of it. Okay. So, oh, they got a purse bid in her fight. I'm not on steroids. Yo, yo, told me to wash the dishes. I'll be in the kitchen like, yeah, baby, nah, I wash these shits. Yeah. Yo. Clarissa Shields said, I'll knock her ass out, her little ass out. Alicia Bongart. Smacked his face on his chin. Ah, God, it hurts. And the thing is that sometimes you don't know because these guys got good poker faces, and you really don't know how much that shit affected them. Damn, that uppercut. And he can't keep winging these punches like this. He's got to slow down. Limo, try to work off your jab. Try to set it up. You're just winging the shot. Like it's just too obvious. Who the hell? Oh, that's my girl. She's home. Like she's home already. Well, we're in the seventh round right now, right? And as we're watching this fight right now, officially, we've seen what both fighters have to offer by this point in the fight, right? Can we fairly say that, right? Does Richardson look like he's ready for Devin Haney? Shit, I don't think he might not be ready for Ryan Garcia. I think Ryan Garcia will give this Richardson kid a fight. Might beat him, you know? So this is a great babe. I don't know. Tell me what you guys thinks, man. Hold on, let me say hello to my girl real quick. Yo. I don't know, man. I'm tell you right now that he doesn't strike me as it all depends on the judge how the judges see it. I wish Camacho posters. If the Naoya Inoue posters are $75 and up, a big poster of him starts at $75 and up. This poster costs over 100, I think 150 or something. It's not even like a poster, it's like acrylic. You can't rip it. You could go like that, ball it up, and it just go back. It's like acrylic. Shit's dope as shit. This is a poster. This is just your basic everyday poster right here. This one. And then the Mike Tyson one, I got one right here. Mike Tyson. Them shits is like 75, $80. Oh shit! Richard Hitchins is getting banked on right now. A fight is breaking out in the ring. He's holding on for dear life, it looks like. What's going on? Oh my goodness, he's putting the beats on Dre on Richardson. Serge, oh my goodness, Sergio saying it right. Going backwards. Limo is making his move. The pressure is, I told you, it's tiring going backwards. Pre- oh shit. He's breaking Richard Richardson down. That was sharp. There's still a minute left in the round. If he has that dog in him, nice one too. Oh, good. Nice one. Nice, Richard Hitchison. Good. Oh, he was just waiting for him. Make it get let him get comfortable with those little love taps. I think he's figured out that Richard Hitchison doesn't have enough behind his pop. He gave him like 4 or 5 shots and it just was winging a punch. Oh, that wild uppercut hurt him on the inside. That body shot hurt him. But he's biting down on the mouthpiece going forward. He's just biting down on the mouthpiece. Mean body shot. Richardson Hitchison caught him in between when he was breathing, hit him with a nice body shot. Didn't even have to be hard. You catch him in the right spot when he's in transit, they don't hurt him. It'll knock out his air. Limo. They both hurt. Ooh. Talk about you want Haney, you want Matthias. Well, you need to worry about the guy that's in front of you. How about that? Worry about him. Talk about you want that smoke. You want that smoke? Well, you better worry about this man that's in front of you. Wow, I can't believe it. And I told you guys, Limo fights like this for 12 rounds. That it was his cardio I wasn't questioning. And just like the announcer was saying too, because the announcer was saying it. It wasn't his I was questioning. I was questioning Richard Hitchins' cardio and whether he has that dog in him going into the championship rounds. It just doesn't stop coming. When you got a fighter like this, yeah, you got to bring your hand back. You can't hold him like that. Sometimes you just got to step on that front foot and you got to give them something to get your respect instead of going backwards. Yeah, you can go backwards, evade a little bit, but there's a point where that you got to make your move. You got to make your move and you got to show that you got this kind of power to be in this kind of division. You know, Subria Matias power, I think would be too much for this kid. It'd rattle his brain. I babe. 3 in the 9th. I definitely think this guy won the last. Oh, he looking a little fatigued. Oh, his body language doesn't look good. Richard Hitchison. Yeah, the way he's reacting to the shots upstairs. Exactly. He took the words right out of my mouth. No, I don't want none of these guys fighting Matias. What are you talking about announcing? Matias one needs to fight champions. I don't know if Gustavo Lima won that round. That was a pretty close round. Hitchison was doing some work. I just didn't like Hitchison's body language. Limo looks stronger, so by the definition of the referees, they might give him that round. Yeah, forward aggression. His forward aggression was definitely better, and he's got the kid going back. The kid hasn't landed anything significant to really sway the judges. So yeah, he might. Yeah, that's too many fucking people telling you what to do. Just gotta listen to one person. Yeah, you gotta lock him down. He's grabbing him a lot now. He's got to watch out why he ties up like that. The body shots is he's getting in on him. He had to have known and prepared for this kind of pressure. They had to have known about this guy. Come on, man. There you go. That's what you got to do. Step on the front foot and give him something to back. Yeah. Stop him from backing you up, kid. There you go. Staying on this. Yeah, there you go. There you go, kid. You're going to have to exchange with him and expect those hooks. Be ready for them. Don't stay in the pocket too long. He's fighting them. They fighting. He's fighting them now. There you go. There you go. Just let your hands go. Don't wait for that distance shit and try to measure him up. You just let your hands go at this point. He's a wild fighter, Hitchison. But you gotta get in and get out sometimes and watch his hooks. Be ready for that. You know he's a hooker. Get low, bend your knees. Don't try to anticipate up or down. Anticipate both. Nice uppercut in the inside. Nice. Nice. That was a good punch. Punches like that is what you need. You got to keep that hand up. You know he's coming with them hooks over the top. That's his best punch. Don't try to anticipate that up or down. Just bend your knees a little, Hitcherson. Heavy shots from this dude. He's just winging them, winging them. Watch it, Hitcherson. Watch it. When he's wild like this, bang, nice, good inside. Nice, nice. Now step back, don't stay with him, pom pom. Right there. Now step back, pom pom. This is the fight you needed to fight, kid. Right there, bang, bang, boom, in, out. Now step back, breathe, kid, a little. You can breathe tomorrow. Come on, you can get tired and sleep tomorrow. Let's go. You need to bite down on this freaking mouthpiece, kid. You want to fight Devin Haney? You want potatoes? You better show the world that you're here. You want to be a champion? Well, you got to fight like a champion, damn it. Come on, damn it. You're going to have to fight like a goddamn champion right now, bro. Because this man right now is bringing the fight to you. He's bringing the fight to your front door right now, Hitchison. And if you're going to show the world, this is your your application. This is what you're bringing right here. This is championship shit right here. If you can close this fight strong and really like separate yourself in these next 2 rounds right here, he can win this fight right here. And he can show that he's not going to back down, that he's ready, he's here, and he's for real. You know what I mean? You don't have to punch hard. You just got to punch smart. The way he was punching at the closing of that round is how he needed to be fighting this fight. He's got to punch smart. There you go. He got to keep his hands up. There you go. Stifle his punches, get your punches in, move out, then step in and give him something. Don't let him just fire off on you like this kid. He switched up to lefty. Once you hit, dip back, dip. Don't stay there. He's throwing the jab well, but he's not moving. He's just standing there after he retracts his jab. knowing this guy's gonna come in with this pressure. Just take a shift. Oh, he's looking at the clock. That's never a good sign. Shouldn't be watching the clock, kid. Wow. If Gustavo Lima was to set up his punches more, he has the energy. He's fighting, but you can see what he wants to do. Wants to get low, come up. So Argentinian fighters giving everything he can handle and then some. Come on, Richardson. You haven't thrown a fight in a punch in like 10 seconds. Yeah, come on. That's for sure. Nemo did say this is the type of fight he was going to fight, and he backed it up. Richardson talked a lot about it. He had a lot to say about every other fighter and the way they fight and the way they have flaws in their fighting ability and how he sees weaknesses in all these other fighters. And this was his test, his first big test. And the ship is starting to sink. Yeah, Clarissa Shields, she worried. Eh, Be prepared to see your favorite fighter lose. Yo, my man is getting outfought right now. If he wins this round, he wins the fight. It's that close. It is pretty close. But I think Liam should be up around right now. I think this guy needs Richardson needs to win this to make it a draw. Neither of these guys are ready for Matthias. Liam though, Liam is Matthias's kind of fighter. Liam is fits right up his alley. You ain't gonna have to worry about Liam and Matthias finding themselves in the ring. That's for sure. You're not gonna have to worry about that. And right away, both men are gonna want to establish themselves in the ring and push the other guy back. Somebody's O has got to go. And Liam hasn't really landed anything significant, but he's chasing him around, but he's just missing. He does have a lot of forward pressure, but so far Richardson is catching him. And Liam is he's throwing some punches. He's trying right now, but he hasn't really landed anything. And Richardson is the one that's landing his punches in this round. I don't think Liam's landed any punch this round so far. That's an attempt. All misses. All misses. He ain't landed anything yet. Okay. Got a good clip right there. So this is a mandatory fight for Matias. And I don't see Okay, I mean, it looks bad for Hitchison because Liam is coming, but technically, 4 or 5 punches right now so far he's landed versus Liam's Richardson's output. Richardson has definitely landed the more punches so far. I've been paying attention to this round. He's throwing a lot of punches, Liam. He's just not landing. Yeah, they have a hard time because he is being the aggressor. He is. And he's challenging him in the middle of the ring. Come on, stand right here with me. Let's go. He lost that last round. He's gonna be fine until he feels Matias' power. And he ain't gonna be hungry no more. He ain't gonna be hungry. It's a tough fight, but I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not calling out and talking shit about every other fighter and saying their flaws and their technique and what they could and could not do in the moment and what you would do to them shall you guys fight and then put up this kind of fight against this rarely terribly unknown fighter. I mean, he's not a household name, but they're both undefeated. You know what I mean? But now, see what happens when you put your name in the ring against these kind of fighters. They're your boxing promoter and the people they're putting you in position to become great. This is a title eliminator fight for the IBF, which puts you the next person for a title fight. You gotta win these kind of fights in order to be. So these are the fights you need to win. And this is what I'm talking about right here. This is the sport of boxing, where they can put you in position to be successful. You just got to win those fights. And this could be a roadblock for this kid right now. We're about to find out. Them cheat him. 117, 111, 115, 113. Decision. Richardson. Oh, shit. 117, 111. 117. Yo, they bought this kid this fight, bro. That's a fucking terrible score, bro. 117. Once I heard that, I said, who the fuck? What? Where was there a fight? 117, 111. Not in this fight. Who the fuck was scoring that card? Who the fuck? 117, 111. What kind of judge, bro? That dude never needs to be judging ever again in his fucking life. There is no way on God's green earth Richard Hitchison fought that kind of fight, bro. 117, what are you out of your mind? Do you know what that means? They're saying he won 8-4. 8-4, bro. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, shut up, bro. You got fucking. You're lucky that you won this fight. They're trying to say that even if that guy won that last 12th round, he wasn't going to win this fight. I was like, you won easy. That's not what happened. 29-0. Man, listen, bro. See, he's still talking like he's that killer. But don't worry about it because he's soon gonna get a rude awakening. He's gonna get careful what you ask for and careful what, um he's not he doesn't have the kind of power to back Subriel Matias off him, to keep Subriel Matias off him. That's for sure. He didn't show me no kind of power tonight that can convince me that he can tame Subriel Matias's ass and keep Subriel a little gun shy or hesitant from coming in. He has nothing that Subriel Matias has not come against before and has not weathered the storm and come through. His gas tank is not that of a fighter that can pull off the kind of performance you would need to be the kind of fighter like a Subriel Matias. This kid is not ready for him. And whether or not his mouth can, he barely got by this fight. And I'm gonna keep it 100. From what I saw, maybe he might have won the fight, or but not no 117. That the other two judges, 115, 113. I can rock with that. I can rock with that. There was some rounds where that, I felt like Richard Hitchison did the better punching, in the round, but the more effective punches, I felt like were done by the other guy. But depending how the judges were seeing it. But that one judge, that 117, 111, that motherfucker got a vanilla envelope. And he said, no matter what, this kid is going to win. I just want you guys to remember one thing, right? While these judges are scoring the fight, it's not like the scorecard stays in front of them the entire night. That's not how it's judged. What you don't see in between rounds when the guys go to sit down, the referee's main job in a boxing match is to collect the slips from all three referees in between rounds. Then he gives it to the official, right? That's outside the ring. He gives them all to them and he's tallying them up. So between every round, when the fighters go back to their corner, the ref will go by. Let me get that. Let me get that. Let me get that. So that they don't got time to change what they saw or to go back and be like, nah. After every round, you got to submit it in. So that dude already had an agenda. You know what I mean? I didn't see no 117, 111 fight. I don't know what the fuck he was looking at. But I also didn't see the kind of performance that leads me to believe that he's a championship caliber fighter with the champions we have today. I don't think Richardson Hitchison can beat Esau Pitbull Cruz, and I should leave it right there, but I'm not. Then I also don't believe he can beat Teofimo Lopez. No, I don't. And I don't think he can beat Subriel Matias, and I don't think he's ready for Devin Haney with the performance he put on tonight. I've seen all four champions in their last or just recently putting up better performances than the performances the young man put up tonight. That's not taking anything away from the young man. I'm just being critical to him. But the young man does have a future. He can box. And if he's giving a little bit more time with a little bit, he only got 17 fights with 7 knockouts. This will be, he's going up. He didn't get a knockout in this fight neither. So he doesn't have that kind of power. So if you don't have that kind of power, you're gonna have to develop in other ways. And I don't think his boxing skill is that of an elite champion right now. That's my assessment. I just believe that it would be putting him in too early against a fighter such as of Subriel Matias, unfortunately. You know, if it was anybody like, you know, if he fights Tio or Isa Pitbull Cruz, I think Isa Pitbull Cruz can fight a little bit better than the guy that he fought Liam tonight. And it's the same style, but Isa's style, it seems that he has enough pop in his punch, and it would really give this kid Richardson a real bad time, as you can see when he fares up and is matched up against a style like a Isa Pitbull Cruz. Now Teofimo Lopez hits hard. It's real hard for this kid, I think. And he'll have this kid in all kinds of trouble. Yeah, he will. Subrielo just he's not ready for Subriel, man. I'm sorry. He's just not. I'm just keeping it 100. He's not. Subriel has come against way stronger fighters, way stronger boxers, way stronger technicians than this kid has to offer. He's already been there, done that, and he made those guys quit on the stool. Those kind of fighters. So, yeah, I don't know if this kid can beat Ponce. I don't know. I don't know. Jukumbai. I don't know if he can beat Jukumbai, bro. I think Jukumbai will give this kid Richardson a great fight. I think Ponce will probably beat him. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, that's what I mean about cleaning out a division, and fighting all the top guys and not just fighting like a number ranked 15 guy and they give you a fucking world title fight your next fight. And the reason why these guys right here are Subriel Matias is mandatory because everybody else, he's already cleaned out the division as far as the IBF ranking system. I understand that there's other fighters in the division, but they might be under different ranking systems like the WBC or the IBF or the WBA. Different ranking systems, man. Same division. You know what I mean? And but as far as Subriel in the IBF, he's already fought the number one guy, number two guy, the mandatory. He's cleaned them all out. And that's why these guys are getting their shot and becoming the title eliminator because everybody who was the who's who, Subriel already beat. All he needs are championship fights now. And it's truly up to the champions to fight him. Tio's up again, running his mouth again about everybody else. But yet, he ain't fight. Oh, and one more thing. I told you guys, right after the Tank Davis fight with Isa Pitbull Cruz, the first words out of Tank Davis's mouth were when they asked him, "Would you rematch Isa Pitbull Cruz?" He said no. He said, "Hell no, I'm not gonna fight him again." He killed all notions of a rematch, everything right then and there. He said, "Nah, I ain't fighting him again." And you know why? It's because for the first time, he fought a much shorter guy. He didn't know how to deal with it. But now that Isa Pitbull Cruz has the belt at 140, he wants to Tank Davis to go up. But Calvin Ford came out and said he's not going up, that Tank Davis is a natural 130 pounder and that he should be at 130. In fact, I was checking out some some training of Tank Davis up to recently preparing himself for Frank the Ghost Martin. And Tank Davis looks ripped, bro. Yo, he got abs again. He got abs again. He looks skinny as shit, bro. Yo, he's all cut up like this. They were showing him jump rope and shit. I was like, damn, Tank Davis is skinny as shit. Yo, his cheekbones is in like, yo, he looked disciplined. He looked like he got a good nutritionist. He's really watching what he eats. No more snacks at night type shit. And he looks good. And he's gonna have to get like that in order to get in peak condition to fight a fighter such as Frank the Ghost Martin. See, Frank the Ghost Martin might not be as skilled a boxer as Tank Davis, but he's hell of athletic. He's really athletic, and he has that kind of athletic build, you know. And you never know with an athletic guy. He can just bring that forward, good pressure, and he's going to be in there for the fight. So if you want to match up, you're going to have to match his gas tank. But I believe Tank Davis is the better boxer and the better, harder puncher. Frank the Ghost Martin, he ain't knocking dudes out like Tank is anyway. So let's see how and Tank's already shown that his power carries with him all the way up to 140, the way he knocked out Mario Barrio like that. Mario Barrio was much bigger than Tank Davis, and he fucking laid him out. So the referee had to save his ass at the end. He was going out anyway. But yeah. So yeah, you wanna wanna match that, and then if you can match that cardio part, your power is gonna come anyway, Tank. Yeah. Okay, what up, baby? Yo, yeah, Hitchison is chinny too. Yo, Batman be putting chinny on everybody. Fuck it, he's chinny. He's wobbling. He's chinny. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yo, nah. Um, listen, uh, Liam won that fight, bro. That dude won that fight, man. He beat Hitchison. He beat him. He actually did. He had him in all kinds of trouble, and all he was just pushing him back. Yo, he beat the young kid, but Limo fought him in America, and he ain't get the judging here tonight. I don't care if he underestimated him or not. You should have made that adjustment when you knew you already underestimated him and made the fight. It didn't matter at this point. Liam Lamo, um, was relentless, and it looked like he got stronger in the later rounds. In the ninth, 10th round, he was, but he did take off that 12th round. I noticed he didn't land shit in that 12th round for punches anyway. I was like, damn, he's missing a lot. And Hitchison was just catching him in the transition right there. But yeah, Montana Love, man, you might want to fight that though, or Regis Progress. But you might not want to get in the ring with Subriel Matias, even though you fought that title eliminator. That doesn't like make you a mandatory. You don't have to like I would probably take one or two fights in between to see if anybody could upset the cart and beat Matias for you. Then you go after that guy that it happened to beat Matias on a lucky night or some shit, right? And maybe you could go like that. But if you're planning on going after Matias just like that, man, yeah, with this kind of performance, I'm sorry. I'm not even being biased or nothing. I'm just being straight up 100% honest. I think Matias is too strong for him right now at this point in his career. And that's my honest assessment. I sometimes when being a Puerto Rican fighter inside a little bit makes me think like, but no, it's not. It's just not. He's just I've seen Matias and with fighters like this already countless of times, and much stronger fighters, in fact. than Richardson, and he made them quit. So yeah. Yeah. Oh, what's up? Armando, a member. My man. Yo, I got to tighten. I will be. I'm learning as I'm growing my channel. I'm working on some things. I forget about other things, but I'm putting all this. Will I will. Don't worry. I have you guys a little something from Puerto Rico. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna be working on it. My man. Yeah, 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 yeah. Those my little logos. I gotta get some other ones and stuff. I like those ones. I like those ones though. Those are pretty cool. Wow. Um, I look. There's a lot of young top prospects coming up right now. There's a lot of young top prospects, and I think that boxing is in good hands. The Masons, the Keyshawn Davises, and the list goes on and on. The Camille Motens of the world. I can't wait for them guys to start blossoming up too. They're gonna start to run into some of these middle guys like Richards and Hitchinson, and you're gonna see a changing of the guards. Some of these young guys are going to be just like these guys when they were coming up, and they're going to want their shot. And at the ending of this year, and that's why I say the 2025 year is going to be explosive for boxing in many many different ways. And I think that a lot of these young guys are going to come up and present challenges, and a lot of people that were already here are going to have to get pushed out the way. So Richardson actually, in about another year or so, he's going to be surrounded. North of the equator, south of the equator is all going to be damaged. Oh shit! Look at Carissa Shields with Bongar out there. Oh, she's in her face. Did you feel the earthquake? Oh shit, yeah. Y'all felt that shit out there? Must have slept through that shit. I was sleeping. You know what I mean? Yo, I didn't feel shit. Well, I don't think it hit me out here anyway. The holding tonight, yo, say word. Say word. Bam Bam Boogie. Listen, man, listen. All that holding he did should have been a point deduction. There was two, and he didn't get that many warnings for the holding. He kept holding and holding. The referee was like breaking it up, but this is not like he made it like, yo, this is your second warning. If you keep holding, I'm gonna deduct a point. Stop the grabbing, right? The referee, yo, it was like they was all on homeboy's side, kind of, man. My man, he knew that he was coming into enemy's territory, and like that in any country or any fight. So I can't, how they do our boys overseas when they steal our fights. So I ain't gonna say anything like, hey, it happens. So if you know this, you gotta like win the fight. You gotta close it. And that 12th round, he needed to close. I'm not sure that 117, 111 judge, no matter what he did, but knock him out. He's gonna might have to knock him out. But the other two judges, saw it fairly the same way too. Maybe Hitchison got some, sneaky shots in between the round, and they felt like he was getting the more cleaner shots. And maybe I'll go back and watch the fight later again and really look at it. But from what I saw, no matter what, whether he gets the win or not, off of the performance that he pulled off tonight with a fighter like that, right? I don't think he's ready for Subriel Matias, and I'm standing on my square. And if anybody else saw anything else different, I'll respect it and let me hear it. And tell me why. Tell me why. Why you think he's ready for Matias? Like, I don't think he is. I think we need a limit holding rules, 3 holding for each round. Yo, you can only yeah, some shit, right? Because it's part of a fight, but excessive. Every situation he was clinching up. It was just excessive throughout the rounds. Richardson was just grabbing him, persist. It was just too much in some cases. He was halting the action by grabbing his hands. You can't do that. That's illegal. This guy's got to be able to punch. You got to punch your way out. A punch. And he was just grabbing, and yeah. And with all that grabbing, they still awarded him the fight. And grabbing ain't gonna win you a world title against Subriel Matias, as you can see. Anyway, if you're that close to Subriel Matias where you can reach out and grab him, you shouldn't be there. I always say you shouldn't be there. Okay, you shouldn't be that close to him. And the way he was getting trapped in the corners, Richardson Hitchison tonight, from the opening bell, we saw this guy pushed him up against the ropes and had him pinned up. And I was even saying, what the fuck are you doing on the ropes so early in the fight already? I hope that this is something, one of his strategies, or he was making reads. Nah, he wasn't making any kind of reads. That was the way he fought. And I was thinking that maybe, because remember I was telling you guys, I was saying, the fight's gonna break out in the fourth round, and it did. And that's the round where he started fighting. So I can't understand how the other judge had it 117, 111 when I was we were calling it out, and I was telling you guys, Richards hasn't really did anything, and he started fighting in the third round a little. He put like one combination together, and in the fourth he started putting his punches together. So look, this is boxing. And sometimes you have to take care of business. And if you don't want to get robbed in a fight, you do have an option. Knock this motherfucker out. Hey, fight fans, I love you guys. It's been an amazing night of boxing. Um, and please smash that like button. Let's get this video up, liked, so that it can get pushed out there more. Um, Let me answer Boogie here. Felix Perez, what's up? Matias will make him quit. I believe he will. I believe he will. He will stop the fight. The kid will never hurt hurt Matias. Not with that power, Felix. Not with that power. He doesn't have the kind of power to stop Matias. You know what I'm saying? Juke him by all them dudes. They were fucking throwing bombs at Matthias, bro. Real hard punchers, knockout artists of men, strong guys. Were in his last 5 fights, and he made them all quit. Richardson Hitchison doesn't possess the kind of pop, the kind of pressure, or the fighting skill to give a fighter such as battle tested as a Subriel Matias. Has Subriel Matias had not been battle tested the way he was, like if he was like a Devin Haney where he came up from the lower division and only had one fight, then I wouldn't have much to judge him on. But Subriel Matias is a natural 140 pounder that's been there his entire career, that's cleaned out the division. I've actually seen him fight big men, strong guys in that division, one after another, after another, after another. And his last 5 fights, he made them retire. Are you fucking kidding me? He is the only natural 140 pounder right there champion out of all those champions right now. And you mean to tell me that Richard Hitchison, this guy gave him everything and much more that he can handle? That kind of pressure that that guy brought to the table, Matias would have met him at the center of the ring with that and would have been like, yeah, let's go. That guy would have been leaning on Matias and Matias would have leaned back and gave him something to back him up. There wasn't going to be any of that circling around the ring with Matias. No. And he going to stand right there with him. And that's what I mean. And the guy that just gave Richard Hitchison that kind of fight, Matias would knock him out. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you guys. Let me answer this. Carlos says something. What makes Sabriel? That's 100%. A short punch does, well, okay. Here's the difference between a short punch and a long punch, right? If you can catch a guy at the end of your punch right, and you're snapping it good off, and you just catch him flush, you're obviously going to hurt the guy and stuff. The thing with short punches, they vibrate through you. They like your power can be compacted at a short range, and it's all your velocity in one snap. That's why it hurts so much, right? But when you throw a straight shot and you can get, see, when you throw straight and you hit the guy, it depends where you hit him when you throw the straight punch. Because if you hit him too close like this and the punch is stifled, right, you're not getting all of it out. If you hit him here, although you threw it, you're only at this distance. You haven't got your shoulder or your weight behind it yet at this distance. But if you follow through in the punch and you hit him and you're going through with it and you're putting all your weight and your snap, now that is just your strongest punch. That's going to be the strong because you caught him. It depends at what distance you hit. But when you're in the inside like Subriel Matias and he's snapping them at you, he's throwing it all from right here. From right here. Yo, and it's the ones you don't see that hurt the most. That's the punch that hurts the most. The one you don't see. Because you can be in an exchange, and even if you can see the punch coming, you're still bracing yourself. Your brain is seeing the punch. You might not be able to react to it, but you can see it coming. And you're like, boom, and it hits you. But you saw the punch. You just didn't have time to react. The punch that you don't see, you're like, that knocks you out. Straight cold. Because your body didn't see it coming. You had no idea you were getting hit. You couldn't brace. Your brain didn't register it. You got caught cold. It's over. You know? And like, yeah, man. So, and Carlos, I tell you, Matias is a master at throwing those short, mid-range shots. He lives there. He lives there. He knows how to put his torque and his waist onto those shots. And then on top of that, depending on what God blessed him with his naturally ability to understand how to whip your punch, there's a technique to punching, right? Where that even if you were never born with the ability to be a knockout artist, I can make you a knockout artist. Yes, because I've mastered the way to knock someone out. Like my brother used to teach me, the best way to break a person's jaw is catch him in the sentence while he's talking shit. As soon as you see his jaw go down while he's talking, hit him. Bang! His jaw will snap like that. But if you're in a, that's why you wear a mouthpiece. Because as long as you keep your jaw hard, you're braced to take a punch. So you never talk while you're fighting. Because as long as your jaw separates while you're talking, it's easier to break. It only takes 7 pounds of pressure to knock you out of your conscience. Your brain got to snap back in that little pocket of air and you go out. So if I see that I hit you and you're able to like take the punch, okay, well then I'm going to hit you with something you're not going to see. And let's see how you work with that. You know? So the technique to punch, to get a better punch, is you gotta practice your body how to fluctuate your blood in your body. You have to make it like a whip. Like you ever take water and put it in a wiffle ball bat? Just a little bit of water like this. Drill a hole in a wiffle ball bat, fill it up, tape the hole up, right? And then take the bat and then hit a ball with it. That shit's gonna go over the building, bro. Because that little bit of water gives it that weight it needs to crank it. Major League Baseball players pay hundreds of dollars for bats that have water in it so that they can get that swing so they build the confidence hitting the home run because their body's seeing that they're hitting it. You see? So they practice with those bats with just a little bit of water. Same thing with a punch. Your body's made of liquid. Bruce Lee knew it. And some men just know how to develop that so fluently. All you got to do is shift. Shift. Naoya Inoue does it the best I've ever seen in my life. He does it the best. He does that same thing. And he snaps all the blood into the tip of his and then snaps you with it. And it's like a weight. Ow! That shit. And you don't need to torque it. There's no torque. There's no aggression, no anger. You don't need none of that. It's just all technique. It's like throwing a football when they say it's all in the wrist or baseball. You don't throw a baseball from your arm and your shoulder. You throw it from your wrist. You snap your wrist. Yo, that shit'll go boom, quick. It's like a football. It's technique. And you can learn how to do that technique. Some people will take years and years. Then you'll have this little 9-year-old kid walk in the gym and he just understands it. And he just starts smacking the bag. Spine, spine, spine. And you know what I'm saying? It took me a long time to develop what he was telling me. Like year in, year out. I kept thinking I know, but I didn't until I started catching it. And it just came easy. You know, distance, you'll learn how to do it. You know? So it's technique. It's technique. Yo, baby, love you guys. Round One Sports Talk. It's been a great show. And I'm on to the next one after this one. All right, my man. Love you guys. You guys have been the best. It's been a good night. Even though we don't feel like the right guy won tonight, I learned something and some answers, some questions were answered. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. Love you guys. Have a good night. Be safe out there. Press the likes for me. Crazy how Naoya's brother never had the power his brother had. Some people are not giftedly hard punchers. They just not. You gotta everything that Naoya Inoue is not just one thing. It's not. He was also born with the ability to hit hard. On top of it, he mastered technique. On top of that, you know what I'm saying? He knows a lot. You didn't have to teach that man how to do that. There are just people in this world that they figured it out. They were never coached. They just know how to do it. Just they just know. And some people are like that. They're exceptional athletes. My nephew, for instance, he plays on football and time again. He's only 14. I hear the coaches all the time in the combines. They say the same shit all the time they see him. They go, bro, it would take years for us to make a guy play like this kid is playing. Who coached him? He's just doing it. Mikey just does this shit, bro. I don't know how he knows how to do it, when to shift, when to stand, when to pull. It's just in him. And with that, you can also teach technique. And those are fighters like him, fighters like this man, where they were already naturally gifted. They put hard work, dedication, and preparation on top of that. That's what makes those men separated from all the rest. Have a good night, gentlemen.